organization, but I
Thank
just
you.
want to be here to say congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, that's sweet.
I thought Beverly's picture was
Okay. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Leesburg. I am Larry Branch, and I am a member of the spiritual community. Our theme for this year is Timeless Vision. This month, our focus is One Journey, Many Paths. The title of the talk today is One Mind, Infinite Connections, which will be given by Charlene Banks, our practitioner. Right now, we open our sacred space together, setting our intentions for our service and bringing our awareness to our unity and oneness, which is represented by this one lit candle. Let us close our eyes now as we bless the service today. Together, let us recognize the divine presence that moves through all things and know that this presence of love expresses as each of us in unique and beautiful ways. I know that we are blessed by this time together and that we are each renewed in our remembrance of love, peace, wholeness, and connection. I give thanks for everyone in attendance and for everyone who made our service possible today. May the energy of love that is generated here bless us all abundantly, and so it is. Please feel free to add to the chat or in the comments any prayer requests that you would like to be included later on in our service, Community Spiritual Mind Treatment, which is our form of affirmative prayer. We turn now to blessing the contributions and donations that are shared today for our center. There are many ways to give. If you will notice at the bottom of the screen, you can text your donation to 703-940-9260, or you can use Cash App by sending it to $CSL Leesburg, or by mailing a check to P.O. Box 1830, Leesburg, Virginia 20177. And if you like using PayPal, send it to info@cslleesburg.org. At CSL Leesburg, we believe in the law of circulation. We know that all that is shared with our center blesses us all, and those who give. We are a tithing community, and in addition to helping us pay our expenses, which continue even though we are not meeting in person, we also tithe to our home organization as well as organizations that inspire us and help us further our vision of helping create a world that works for everyone. Thank you for your support. Let us read together this affirmation at the top of our screen. The presence of Spirit within me blesses everyone I meet, tends to heal everything I touch, brings gladness into the life of everyone I contact. Therefore, I am a blessing to myself, to humankind, and to the day in which I live. And now we move into our time of meditation with Charlene. Thanks.
Thank you, Larry. That was beautiful. Hello and welcome and good morning. I hope that you're staying warm wherever you are. But in this time, I just would like to have a special meditation now. This one is about community. So if you would like to close your eyes and just get centered, sit very comfortably in your chair and take several deep, easy breaths. Just breathing in and releasing. When you feel relaxed, call into your mind the familiar image of a fishing net. See a vast net that stretches up and down as far as you can see. Every knot in the net is a sparkling star. I'll just give you a moment to visualize that. See yourself in the center of this shining net. But know that each of us stands at his or her own center of the net. You see, each of the stars in the net are our spiritual community. They're the people in our lives. Each star is at the center according to their own vision. The stars revolve around each of us. They shine for each of us. This net has many centers, as its knots that are shining stars. The weaver of the net is our divine creator. Whether you call it God, Atman, the Most High, the universe, life, goddess, Buddha, whatever you call it. That ineffable, the ground of all being from whence we came, that is the one that wove the net. Let us look at our net and see who the Creator has woven into our lives today. Look at your closest circles of stars, what's nearest you. Name them. And in your mind's eye, name who cheers me when I am sad. This star will be closest to you. Look at it and name it. Who holds me when I am weary? Find that star closest to you and name it. Who feeds me when I am hungry? Whether that be a physical hunger or spiritual hunger. Name it. Let us understand that no community is built at random. No community comes together by chance. Our wise creator, creatress, gathers her children with purpose and with humor. Name more. Who walks beside me? What's that name? Who plays beside me? Who works beside me? Now you may have more than one star near you who works with you, beside you. You see, the word community comes to us from the Latin communis, which means common. A related word is communion. One meaning of communion is a sharing of thoughts or feelings. So, with whom do you brainstorm your best ideas? With whom do you reveal your innermost feelings? If not your community, well, who? We have another definition of community: a religious or spiritual fellowship. We are all of us a part of a vast community that lives in the lap of God. And as we take a deep breath and anchor even deeper into this beautiful net of community of stars around us, amongst us, it is so good to know that we are not alone. And just take another anchoring breath, considering each star. Now, let's look at the light of each of the stars. How far does it shine? Do you see how the light from one star touches the lights of the other stars in this beautiful net that we call the goddess net, the net of our community? Just as our fingertips and our emails and our texts, they touch when we connect. We are not in each other's space physically right now, and who knows when we'll get back. It'll happen. But that's no reason to suspend the actual touching of each other in this spiritual community. Some may say that we connect even deeper with one another during these times, because during high stress, we have a need for higher and more deeper connection. What seems frivolous falls away, and what seems real remains. What is real for us remains. This community, woven tighter and tighter by the bonds of our light. We share comfort. We share loving criticism. We share our work. We share what is in our heart. Look again at the net. The lines of the net shine like the stars. Why is that? Well, they are the veins that connect our community. They are alive with the pulse of the light that moves. We can feel it moving. I could feel it right now, moving through me, reaching each and every one of you, the members of the community. These lines, these veins, these connections carry our philosophy, our beliefs, our practice, our principle. Let's name a few more friends before we leave this space. Who stands by my side? Name them. Who speaks the truth? Name them. Who listens when I speak? Name them. Our communities, as ever-changing as they're ever enduring. This net is elastic as it is stable. We grow and our thoughts and our heart's desires flow along new and different lines. We grow and we find that one who was once our friend is no longer with us. We grow and blossom and find we have grown into new communities, our net weaving with other nets. We bless communities that are near us. We bless friends that have moved to different nets, knowing that they have found their community. Look out upon our community. If you're here live in the Zoom room, gently open your eyes and look at the beautiful faces of those in the room with you. These are the beautiful souls that the Goddess has brought to us. See their hearts, see their minds, see all of their beautiful essence. And know that our community has purpose. Know that our community is blessed by the Creator, Creatress, Mother, Father, God, whatever you may call it, it's all welcome here. Because we have infinite connections from one mind. That is the mind of God. That is the mother of us all. We are one. So just simply taking some more grounding breaths and returning our awareness to the room. Give thanks for this community. And with resolve, we know that we will keep our community in peace and in harmony. As long as there is work to do, we are forever connected doing this work. Our community will always be with us, no matter where we go. And this is beautiful, and this is wonderful. Thank you, life. Thank you, God. And so it is. And now we get to hear from the Soul Pajamas.
Morning. I have been dreaming. I was awake, not understanding what it might take to be here and now, committing on. I have been sleeping outside the wall. There is no wall, it never was. There is no gate, I dreamed it. No separation, what I create. Awake my soul to spirit. Awake my soul, be still and know there is no place I need to go. With open eyes I hope to see the God in all, the God in me. I built a bridge from me to you, spanning a deep, wide river. Another dream within a dream. Will I ever be delivered? A bridge illusion, it never was. There is no span, I dreamed this. No separation, what I create. Wake my soul to spirit. Wake my soul, be still and know there is no place I need to go. With open eyes I hope to see the God in all, the God in me. Wake my soul, be still and know there is no place I need to go. With open eyes I hope to see the God in all, the God in me.
Woohoo! That was amazing. It was perfect. I listened to the words and I'm like, wow, we have such kismet. Is that what they call it? Just things just work out. Thank you. So, our spiritual community. This is a talk about our spiritual community, and it's called the beloved community. And this is something that just coincidentally, we know that coincidences aren't real, it's just synchronicity of the universe. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King says that the beloved community is a collection of individuals who are learning to love themselves, one another, and the universe. So that's no small task. In fact, the beloved community, when Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King said, the end is, so of the spiritual human community connection, he says, the end is reconciliation. So I guess the question was, well, where does this all end? And so his answer must have been, the end is reconciliation. The end is redemption. The end is the creation of the beloved community. It is this type of spirit and this type of love that can transform opponents into friends. It is this type of understanding, goodwill, that will transform the deep gloom of the old age into the exuberant gladness of the new age. It is this love which will bring about miracles in the hearts of men. So that is the idea of beloved community, and we're talking about global community in that sense. Reverend Doctor's idea of the community being a global loving community, at first it sounds like, oh, that would be hard. And I guess it would be hard if you start big. But if we start small, how about if we took the micro, if we did it in our little communities, our little spiritual nets, and then when we build a beloved community locally, then that can be replicated out into a global vision. This is not a new idea. This is what Centers for Spiritual Living is all about. It's their actual goal, mission, vision statement. In fact, we envision a world. Think about this. This is their under evolutionary vision. They say this. We envision a world in which we live and grow as one global family that respects and honors the interconnectedness of all life. A world where this kinship with all life prospers and connects through the guidance of spiritual wisdom and experience. So if people ask you, gosh, why do you get online and go to Zoom church? That's why. Because we are building a beloved spiritual community. And yes, we're doing it one center at a time. And globally, we will be the agent for change. That is the vision. And it's not too daunting. In fact, let's go even more micro. During the meditation, who are the people closest to you in your net? Now, I know for me, I had family because that's what family does. But I have my spiritual family. They were just as close to me in my net. Who speaks to me, who holds me, who listens to me, and who allows me to speak my truth, who can speak their truth to me. This is the beloved spiritual community that we are building one Zoom Sunday at a time. And in this time of COVID, it's funny because it's not just Sunday. It's not just on Sunday morning that we are building this community. We immediately found, ooh, wouldn't it be fun to do something Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday? Hey, let's get together Friday. We are more together now than we were when we were not isolated at home. And again, there's that dichotomy, there's that balance. When we're restricted in our bodies, we give way for our minds and our spirit to explore. Right? I mean, think about it. I remember being put on timeout, although we didn't call it that when we were younger. Timeout is a new euphemism. It's a term that we use now. It's being gentle, but would be put on punishment is what they called it. And my mother would tell me to sit down and hush. And I had some things to think about. And I was like, I wonder what I'm supposed to think about. Enough time by myself, it kind of dawned on me, oh, I see. I put things together. Now, I'm not saying that COVID is a sit down, you got some stuff to think about, but we certainly are using it that way. We are finding that silver lining. We are connecting with our spiritual community, and we're sitting down and we're staying inside, and we got a bit of a timeout, and we got some things to think about. So what do we think about? Well, no one's sitting there thinking about evolutionary vision every day. Doesn't work like that unless you're like amazing, right? No, what we're thinking about every day is, how do I become a better me? How do I improve this human that I have shown up as? How do I improve this human? And good thing there are practices and there are principles that our spiritual community teaches us. And so we have this community and we are thinking about how we can further support each other in this world that we live in. And one of the first things we do is we think about this. All right, here's a thought. There's a term someone said, okay, I'm going to find it just a second. It has to do with one river, one source, many wells. So think about that. If there's one source, one God, one life force moving, living, breathing through us as us, then how come there's so many people? Well, that's all the different ways that it shows up. One source, many different wells, one source of water in this case, many wells. And so is it our job to point out how someone's, let's say, spiritual tradition is not correct? Correct for whom? It might be correct for them because one source, many wells. Somebody's well might be built up and have bells and whistles on it, and others might just be a hole in the ground with a wire across the top. One source, many wells. There's another way that you can think of this. Imagine that spirituality is a journey, and it is. Imagine that the journey ends at enlightenment or whatever goal it is you seek, nirvana or oneness with spirit, whatever it is. How many paths would you imagine exist to get to that? Now let me think. Hold on, let me think this out. Logically, the universe. Is it diverse? Does it have plenty of things, or is it a unary system with one thing? Well, I think we got to agree it's very diverse. In fact, the more diverse a culture, the more diverse of biology, the better the survival, right? This is why this is why diversity exists, to increase the opportunities for evolution to do its thing. So if there's, let's say there is a destination and that is oneness with the divine, and the universe is a multitude of diversity, there must be multitudes of ways to get to the divine. And I get a little bit, the word is, you know how there's like a grain of sand in your shoe and you could feel it and you just got to get it out. I get a little irritated when one tradition really starts to go in on the other tradition's means of getting there. I feel like if we look deeper, each and every tradition has what they call a golden thread running through it, based in principles and qualities of good that are universal, and that we can agree upon. We know that peace is better than disharmony. We know that love definitely outweighs and is higher and more healing than anything different from it. Reverend Sunday talked last week about the power of love. The energy of love of a single person can offset 170,000 energy energy levels of 170,000 people with energy at a lower level. Love can raise up the consciousness of others. So we know that that's true. So therefore, there must be many, many, many paths to the divine. So we have infinite connections, infinite methods of doing what? Of becoming one with the divine. That's what we want. That's really it. And so the curiosity about this is that the mystics teach that you can only become one with the divine by going within. It's just, you're not going to get there by looking outside yourself and searching outside yourself. This is what we teach. This is what ancient wisdom traditions teach all the time. In fact, there are a few methods for you to get there. One of them is meditation. Meditation is the number one way to become one with the divine, to experience what the mystics call that oneness, that there's no separation. There are stories that of where the edges of where there's no edges, there's no I stop and you start. There's no separation between me and all that is. We're all one. And it's amazing. Mystics always talk about that experience, even though they will tell you in a minute that it's ineffable. They can't explain it. There are no words, but there are poems, there's art, there's beautiful music that sort of hints at that thing that we all would love to experience. Now, how many of you have experienced that just a glimpse of that oneness, that divine connection? I know I have. I think twice I have. I want to say two really good times, and the rest I've been sort of, I think I'm there, and then as soon as I think I'm there, I'm out. So this is the practice, right? But one time I know I was in India with friends. I had traveled to India. I was 32 years old. And I went with friends up to the mountains. They had, a couple had just got married. And for some reason, they brought like 9 of us on the plane. It was weird, but it was fun. So we went, and early one morning, I went jogging. And huge mountains with deep crevices, I don't know what they're called, like valley, huge mountains. I'm standing on the edge and I'm looking up, and I had this feeling that life is so amazing. And I started to laugh because I used to think that my littleness, like I used to think that I was big until I became one with the universe. And then I laughed at the thought that I used to think I was big. It was kind of crazy, kind of fun, and extremely, I just want to say it was nourishing in a way, because I had heard people talking about it. I had been doing my spiritual practices, but it was always elusive. But being out there where there was sky beyond belief, and then mountains that jutted up like extremely high, and then valleys that went so deep that you couldn't even believe it, and then the green, the grass, the rolling hills, I was just breathless. And I stayed there. I don't know how long I stayed there, but I came out of it and there were people staring at me. The bunch of Indian people in their wonderful regalia that were doing whatever they were doing on the mountain as well. They're just looking at me. And I was like, okay, guess I'm done here. And I did my little jog back to the cabin. I'll never forget it. I always return there. And I remember thinking, while I was in that moment, I was thinking, I'm going to come back here as often as I can with my mind, because this is just, it's amazing. Now, other mystics talk about other things. People have seen some Catholic nun, I forget her name, I wrote it down, but it's not in front of me. She would go into these ecstatic fits, and then she was said to have levitated. Now, these days, some people are saying, well, she was probably epileptic and she had seizures, but that's not to say that it also wasn't extremely spiritual for this nun. She would come out of these experiences speaking of the divine in ways that just weren't common. And so I feel like those were just 2 small examples. Each of us, I'm sure we could go around the room and you'd have a story of your own. But I think it's all pretty clear here. once we are connected, once we know we're connected to something so much bigger than ourselves, we know that there's no separation. We know that we are one with the universe, and we're just having an experience of individuality, but that doesn't mean we're separate. No, 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 no. Many wells, one source. When we come out of that, we realize we're all one, we laugh at our puny little ideas of I'm better than her or smarter than him or, I have to, suck up to somebody. All of that goes away because at our core, we are one. We have never been separate from our divine source. So the first and most important practice that we do as a spiritual community is we meditate so that we can get into that space of that oneness with the divine, so that when we come out of it, we can look upon the world as our friends, as our family, as our one. That person over there is me, just in a different skin. And when we look at the world like that, then maybe we can have that beloved community that Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King talked about, right? That beautiful community that comes together, that where they used to be enemies, they're now friends. That one practice, meditation, we do. And what's curious too, and a bit of a dichotomy here, is that it's an individual job to connect with the divine, but the divine is also found in community. We need each other as well. We cannot do the spiritual path alone. And that's the conundrum. I've been in spiritual community where you're not encouraged to seek your own connection with the divine. Let's just say that didn't go well for me. But I feel like it's both. It's you do your work. You want to become the best you that you can, and you can do your work in community, because there's a part about doing your work where you can only do so much on your own. Because I always have a saying, well, if I'm by myself, I say I'm the Queen of England and believe it. Right? Who's here to argue? But the minute I step into the presence of someone else, now it's an agreement. It's a back and forth. Do you see me as the Queen of England? And that's where my reality must shatter. That's a delusion. If it's not something that is validated and verifiable within my community. And so that's why we create our net of beautiful stars, all intertwined, close enough to each other that we can feel each other's energy, but not so close that it makes the net unstable. This net of beautiful stars where each knot in this fishing net is a star or a gem. Each one of the individuals closest to us here to support us. And this net of community, as we grow this net, it stays strong because of our principle. So the next thing I want to talk about is our principles. We have principles that we practice here at Centers for Spiritual Living. We know that meditation is something that we do. We do group meditation. We encourage an individual meditation practice. We also perform what we call treatments, which are affirmative prayer. Affirmative prayer is where you take your meditation and you go even deeper and you affirm for yourself that which you want to experience. So you know how I was saying meditation gets you in that oneness with God as close as you can get to it? Well, once you're in that space, once you're there and you know God is all there is, I'm one with God, I'm not separate. Oh my God, that's right, I am not separate, I am one. Then you can start to contemplate, well, what are the qualities of God? Right, love, peace, harmony, wholeness, wealth, health, abundance, joy. And you realize those are mine. So affirmative prayer, once you're in that spot of communing with the divine, you align yourself. Say, hey, I am abundant. I am peaceful. I am healthy. I am joyful because God is not sick. God is not broke. Therefore, I am not either. And so speaking our word, that's part of our community. We do affirmative prayer for one another. We study, sacred study. That's a big thing. We never stop growing. Every day, every moment, every new class is all about beginning with the beginner's mind. And because the idea is you think you know, but do you really remember? There's a book sitting on your shelf. I will guarantee it. You could go over to that book. You could pull it off the shelf, and it could be one of your favorite books. If you were to read a passage or two from that book right now, it would read a little different than it did when you last read it. It would teach you things you didn't realize were there. What's happening? Is that book magic? No, there's a thing that happens. We see the world as we are. We read books as we are. We only can pull from the book that which we're ready to receive. As you grow in your spirituality, the same book teaches you different things. And that's amazing. It doesn't mean you never have to go shopping. I suppose you're still going to buy new books. But don't just let your older teachings, the older books that are on your shelf, don't let them just sit there. You know, for fun this afternoon, grab one off the shelf and try to prove me wrong. You'll read something. You would have highlighted it already. There'll be little notes in the margin about how awesome this is. And you'll read it and go, oh my God, I've never read that before. It's just cool how that happens. And then, and we also offer classes that in your spiritual community, if this is not your spiritual community, you have to find one that offers classes that keeps you with beginner's mind. Beginner's mind. I'm open to learning new things, thinking of it in a new way, because some say that if you're not growing, you're definitely not standing still. If the universe is, every planet is hurling through space at so many miles per hour, everything's moving. So if you're not moving, you're stagnating. And some say that if you can't even stay still, that you will actually slip backwards to scare you. But I thought that was kind of weird. I was like, oh, that explains the scale. Joking. So the idea here is keep growing. You're always going to start with the beginner's mind, and you're always going to move forward in your learning with your spiritual community. And it is a process that we do with each other. And so those are my little tips on how to make sure that your global heart, the global community does start with our local community. And it does by practicing our experiencing mystical, meditations, by learning and studying with one another, and by being, trying to become our best selves with each other. That's what we're here for. I'm here to help you become your best self, and you will help me become my best self, because that is our agreement as a spiritual community. And it's so much fun to be able to look across the room and see those that hold you in that space. So we want to become this beloved community here so that we can reach out and collectively, as a community of communities, capture God's vision for the planet. And now, when I started this talk, I started with a paragraph about Science of Mind, or Centers for Spiritual Living, how we see our evolutionary vision. And I'll just read it again before I go into prayer and close. But I want to hear whether or not you hear differently this passage. When I first read it, it was like, so listen to it now. We envision a world in which we live and grow as one global family that respects and honors the interconnectedness of all life. A world where this kinship with all life prospers and connects through the guidance of spiritual wisdom and experience. We see a world in which each and every person lives in alignment with his or her highest spiritual potential, emphasizing unity with God and connection with each other. A world in which individually and collectively we are called to a higher state of consciousness and action. I love that last word. Action. Yes. All right. Well, that's my time. I could go on, but I won't. I would like you all to just join me in prayer, and I'll just check really quick to see if there are any requests for specific prayer. Speaking of that, I want you to also know that if you do have a prayer request, please go to cslleesburg.org and fill in a prayer card. We will be praying for you. Just put in your prayer request and we will hold you in prayer. All right, let's go within. So I close my eyes and I know that within me is the divine. It could be no other way. There's only one power, there's only one presence, there's only one life, only one source. And that source is my source. That source is your source. It is the source of each and every being on this planet, animate or inanimate. For we believe that the universe, that God, that the ground of all being is in and through its creation. No separation from its creation. It's also bigger than everything that has already been created. This is what we mean by infinite consciousness. We can always grow, and we will still be within God, because God is all there is, and even more than that. It is this awareness of my unity with the divine that brings me to that space of knowing that whatever is true of the divine has to be true of myself. And that if God is all there is, God is all powerful and all knowing, the principles and the properties of God are all good. For how could God be against itself? That would be destructive. It would destroy it. That doesn't make sense. It must be that any ideas of evil or lack or limitation or sickness must be false. They're false. False evidence appearing real. And so we turn our eyes and our hearts toward that which is true, turning away from darkness and flicking on the light switch. We don't argue with the darkness. We don't try to reason it to get out. We simply shine the light of truth. God's light of truth shone within our own beings removes anything unlike it. When we become aligned with the love, the power, the beauty, the joy, and the presence and the abundance of God, anything in our experience that is unlike it is a little uncomfortable, and it must flee. And so we put our attention on that which we want to experience, that which we know is true, and we speak our word that those who are affected by this terrible weather, the crises that are happening in the lives of people, we don't turn away and pretend that that's not true. But what I do know for those in Texas and anywhere else that's been affected by deep freeze, that God is right where you are. God is right there. It is showing itself in ways that have not even seemed possible. There are communities gathering together to support each other. There are awakenings to things that may need to change in the future because there is action that is being planned by those who are experiencing this. God is moving through and as those people as well. And I look for the movement of God in these situations, and I hold it in my mind's eye. This goes for anyone who is currently suffering illness from COVID or other complications. Anyone who is in an appearance of unhealth, I know the truth about them is health, wholeness, and well-being, that every organ in their body is working together in harmony to support them, because that is the truth. And I also speak my word for everyone right here in the sound of my voice, and that whatever requests that you have in your heart, I speak my word that it is already in process. It is already unfolding in your life right now. I know for you that you are safe, you are whole, and you are one with the divine. Even if you can't see it yourself, I know that there's no separation between you and the divine. And I see the divine moving through you, shining through your eyes, acting as your heart and your hands in every affair that you undertake, knowing that good is happening as you right here, right now. So with this wonderful knowingness, I'm comfortable knowing that this is the truth about us. I know this community is blessed. It will continue to be blessed. And I'm excited to be a part of it. I simply relax now, knowing that the prayer has been spoken, the seeds have been planted, the divine law takes it from here. No need for me to fret. All I have to do is let it go and let it be. I release. And so it is, and so I am. Ashe, ashe. And now we get to hear from Soul Pajamas.
Well, I want to share a little stuff in the front here. So when we were searching for a song to go with this, we were really inspired by the Neil deGrasse Tyson quote that's in our CSL journal. We are all connected to each other biologically, to the earth chemically, and to the universe atomically. So we are not only spiritually got this incredible community, we are absolutely materially, physically connected to everything and everyone. And so it's good to remember we have both those things as our foundation. This song Dan wrote in 2008, inspired by a book called The Wild Trees. 20 years, I would say in the 90s, maybe the early 90s, a bunch of scientists climbed the tallest redwood on the West Coast, the tallest tree in the world. And they discovered an entire brand new, never before found community, ecological community. Well, it blew their minds. So, since then, in these 20 years since then, we've come to read and learn through many scientific explorations that trees have this whole community underground between their roots, between the juices they send out to each other, the energy. I think it's been quite revelatory. They are a beautiful symbol of ultimate community and how they take care of each other and support each other all underground. So anyway, this song was inspired by all that.
I am on a mission, a borderline obsession. I want to know where in the world is the tallest living thing. Is it Northern California, deep in the canyons? I long to discover the tree of my dreams. And one by one I find them, far from any highway, centuries old and 30 stories tall, towering over the floor of the forest. I'm climbing giants and feeling so small. I find myself in the redwoods, like brothers we are one, born on terra firma, reaching for the sun, an open air cathedral, timeless and primeval, lush like a garden of Eden on high, undiscovered riches of flora and fauna, a world of its own, way up in up in the redwoods. Like brothers, we are one. Born on terra firma, reaching for the sun. I pray for the strength of my brothers. May you thrive on the breath I exhale. I live on the air you release to the heavens, a union both sacred and frail. I find myself in the redwoods. Like brothers, we are one. Born on terra firma, reaching for the sun. Born on terra firma. Reaching for the sun. Reaching for the sun.
Yay! Beautiful. I love that all the trees are connected. That's the net. Sorry, our Fisher net that we talked about earlier, not the internet. It's different. All right, Tamara, you ready for announcements? Okay. If you can come off mute, I will set you.
All right, so we have a lot of exciting things happening at CSL Leesburg, and you're welcome to join us at any time at 3 nights during the week. We have our prayer study, and that is on Tuesday evenings, and you can come back and join Charlene. Dream study.
Hold up. They're in the morning. Dream studies in the morning.
Okay.
United Mindfulness. It's hard to see, so what you want to pin this, make it big?
Yeah. So we have our dream study. So please welcome or come and join us for the dream study. And that is on Tuesday mornings. And you can join Charlene Banks. On Wednesday evenings, we have our prayer circle. And she's a busy gal. You can join Charlene, and I also join in that. And any prayer concerns or celebrations that you have, please join us at 7 o'clock in the evening, Eastern Standard Time, for an hour of prayer. You can join us at any time. You don't have to stay the full hour, but we will be there waiting to support you. And then we have guided meditations with Reverend Sunday Cote, and that is on Thursday morning. So lots of things happening, more times to get connected with one another. And as part of the Leadership Council for Center for Spiritual Living Leesburg, we have some very exciting news to share with you here today. Most of you know this, but for some of you, we have a grand announcement to make that our Reverend Sunday Cote was nominated and elected this week at the CSL annual meeting, and she will have a new role and a new title. So she will be the field leader for CSL home organization. So just round of applause right now. Let me tell you a little bit about her new role. So she will provide vision and leadership for the organization, and she will be the preeminent spokesperson for the membership communities in their relationships with the home organization. And I can think of no greater person for that. She will be responsible for ecclesiastical leadership and oversight in matters such as licensing and accreditation, ethics, affiliation, regional support, representation, and education. She will work with the Home Office Leadership Council, the spiritual leader, the executive director, and the home office staff to guide and evolve the activities of the CSL organization and its member communities. Now, she is still a part of our community, but when you hear all those things that she will be doing, there will be some changes. We will see Reverend Sunday as a guest speaker, and she will continue to run her meditation classes as time permits. We invite you to stay and join us after our service today, where we will have a joyful celebration. But before we continue with more exciting news, I would like to see if Sunday would like to say a few words. Putting you on the spot there, darling.
Thank you. Thank you guys for all your support and love as we've gone through this process. And I will be still a part of our center. And of course, you'll always be in my heart. And I'll be giving my last official talk next week. So hopefully we'll come back and that will be my last talk. But I still hope to come back and speak and be a part of everything. And I'm so excited about what you guys are doing and what you're going to announce next with our beloved Charlene, who's amazing and wonderful. And we're so blessed to have her to step up and help us out as we kind of go through this transition. So I'll give it back to you, Tamara, but thank you all.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you so much. So yes, that was just a little teaser of things to come. So since Reverend Sunday is going to be, well, we're sharing her with the world is the way I put this. She was just too good. We have to share her. So since she's going to be very busy in her new role, we had to make some decisions as the Leadership Council. And we met with some people who guided and directed us. And we have a grand announcement that Charlene Banks will be our community director. So round of applause for Charlene. So what will Charlene be doing? She will oversee general ministerial affairs for our center. She will work under the supervision of our regional support representative, Reverend Faith Woods. She will lead an average of 2 to 3 services each month. So if you liked what you got today, come on back and get some more. She will oversee classes. She will oversee the training of practitioners. And I am going to be the first one who started with Reverend Sunday and finished up with Charlene. So I'm pretty excited about that. She will oversee any events that we have. We're going to keep her so busy. But the great thing is, just like she mentioned in the message today, she's got this awesome connection. She's got our wonderful community at CSL Leesburg and the Leadership Council supporting her and just filling her up with love every step of the way. Now, Charlene is currently in the ministerial program, and she will complete her study in 2 years. So when the time is right, will she become our senior minister? Stay tuned. It's out there. It'll be whatever happens with divine guidance. So Charlene, would you like to say a few words?
Thanks. I wasn't really ready. I have nothing. Actually, I have big shoes to try to fill. So I'm really going to lean on my net, my community. I know you guys got me, right? Yes? All right. That's all I need. We could do this. We could do whatever. And Sunday, I hope that you will be my guest speaker a lot. Yes? Okay. No pressure. But it's exciting. I tried to resist it at first thinking, oh, no. But all signs pointed to yes. And it took more energy for me to maintain a no. It was harder. It's like it's harder to frown than it is to smile. That's the kind of thing I was working with. So I finally said, okay, I guess it's right. It's fine. And it's absolutely exciting. I'm so happy. I can't wait. All right. But Sunday, stay close.
You know,
All
this
right.
is something that
And I'm out. Tamara, back to you.
Yes, this is something that changed Sunday to pull back with her role from CSL Leesburg, which she started, is a difficult thing to do. But like I said, we have to share her, and we sent her off with love, knowing that we are going with you and you have us with you too. So we know only the best and the highest good for Reverend Sunday as she steps into this new role. And we also know only the best and highest good for Charlene as she steps into this new role. There's been a lot of changes too. We had our annual meeting for CSL Leesburg in January, and I'd like to introduce you to your new board for the Leadership Council. I will serve as your president. I think it's mostly because as I do the introductions, no one else could pronounce my last name. So I'm the speaker and I am the president, and I'm thrilled to take on that position. Karen Dobson will serve as our vice president. Larry Banks, back in January. Larry Branch. Back in January, when we first met, before the election at the annual meeting for the home organization, Larry was going to be our secretary and Charlene was going to be our treasurer, but she can't do everything, for goodness sakes. So Larry is going to kind of straddle the secretary treasurer position for a little while, but we're looking into the possibility of hiring a bookkeeper to help with that role. Renee Striner will be the member at large on our leadership council, and she has done just such a tremendous job taking over our social media. So like us on Facebook and all the other formats that we're on. And we just are so happy that we have this wonderful, strong leadership council during all these changes. We do have one open position, so stay tuned. There might be more exciting news, but I just like to say that after 2020, we all felt like we needed new, fresh energy, and boy, do we have it here with all this exciting news of what's happening with CSL Leesburg and beyond. And it's going to be a new, exciting year filled with lots of love and positive energy. We know we are divinely guided. We know we are filled with love. So now that just brings us to our closing, and I'm going to hand it back to Charlene.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, Tamara. You always do such a great job. You are amazing. Thank you for everything you do. All right, you guys, I hope you stick around afterwards for our Zoom virtual tea time, virtual coffee circle. Anybody online that's watching through Facebook or YouTube Live, come on over to the Zoom link. It's on our homepage on our CSL Leesburg website. Just click it and join the Zoom room, and we'll celebrate Reverend Sunday. But for now, let's close service by placing your hands over your heart. And close your eyes and just know that within you, there's love. Say out loud, I am love. Good. Open up your eyes and look around. Who do you see around you? Point at them and say, you are love. You. Is it a dog? He's love. Where's the cat? Love. All right. Put your hands up. It's all love. All right, you guys, have a blessed week. I hope to see you in one of our wonderful weekday or weeknight sessions. Peace and blessings.